today is a little work underneath day. We're gonna figure out, we got it lifted up so we can figure out where we're gonna put the bumper. So there's a lot to do back here. So clamp a piece. We're gonna start, bumper's gonna start from here and same spot on the other side, about maybe like a 120, about 18 inches down and then across. And then the challenge is trying to figure out where to put the receiver. We're gonna put bolts here. That's ready for a bolt. That's ready for a bolt over there. So we'll add that. And then we should be done down there. And then also I'm gonna make this piece permanent. Otherwise it just rests kind of like on the ram right there, and it's a little bit wiggly. So this sticks up about 1/8 higher than that. So I'm gonna bolt it on there and make it permanent. And then we have to weld some alignment tabs for when the bed's in the down position, and we'll do all that today. And then all that's left is plating it, and then next week it's gonna get wired. So cross member, long grade 8 bolt. And obviously we're gonna have to trim that. Okay, dropping the bed to check alignment of that cross brace. You can see it down in there. Everything looks good. Still lined up perfectly. So we just wanted to make sure it was in line still. And then we're going to bolt that side. Then we'll trim the ends off those bolts and continue on, carry on, getting close. End is near. Cutty cut, and cut the other one. Die grinder, and we'll just finesse this guy. Less destruction. I don't like that. We're gonna keep working. I probably could just grab it and break it off right now, but I'm gonna cut it a little more. But I'm just gonna get the camera out here for obvious reasons. And there we go. Now let's take a look. Let's take a look. There we go. So now I'm gonna put this piece in. When the bed comes all the way down, it'll rest here on this edge. It gives it something to rest on, except for the only place it was contacting before is that brace right there rests right here on this round piece, so it's not very stable. I'm gonna mark it from below with a Sharpie, flip it right side up, drill 2 holes, and use 2 of the short grade 8 bolts that came with the kit. And then we'll carry on from there. Okay, you can see I grinded everything down, made it nice and clean, and I'm going to weld that cross piece in right there. I'm liking the positioning. It's nice and straight. We'll weld that guy in right now, and then we'll put the drop and the receiver on, and we'll lift up the gate, we'll lift up the bed and double check our clearance. And once we make sure we're clear, we'll make it permanent. We'll weld it. Okay, I raised the bed up and I put this receiver onto the bracket with clamps. I jacked it up into place. I used that bottle jack, I jacked it up into place, and I clamped it to that cross beam while the bed was in the up position. Gave myself about 1 inch clearance at the bottom. It fits, it's almost exactly in the same position it was in originally. Now we're gonna cut short, and the only difference is instead of sitting on the front of this cross member, it's gonna sit behind it. And the reason for that is because when the bed is in the fully tilted up position, it's not enough clearance. There's not enough clearance it will hit. So we're just going to move it to the back side of this beam. It's going to bring it in by 2 inches, and that's the name of the game. And then it's a little tweaked. We'll work on it for a minute. We'll get it straight, and we'll clamp it into place, and then mark it and weld it. Now I made this setup right here is just a spacer, and I came up with my measurements because I knew the light layout that I wanted to use, and I'll explain that later. I wanted to put the oval lights back here and put them at an angle, so the minimum space I could use was 8.5 inches, and I'll show that later as I move along. But this is not a bumper concept. All it is a spacer, so it's just going to show me where everything is as I articulate this thing up and down, and to make sure nothing's going to hit before I build out my bumper. So it's just a mock-up of the space that the bumper's going to take, and that is it. It's nothing else. Okay, let's take a look at what I did here. So there's the final setup. Now we reused the existing tow package that was on the truck before, and it's exactly the same height as it was before. So it is a little waggly right now. We'll work on that as we go. But main thing we want to check is the clearance when the bed is in the up position. Okay, up it goes. Make sure everything's clear. Like it's about to kiss the ball, so we'll go ahead and pull the little toe adapter there, so that's not going to be able to live there. That's gonna go in when it's time to tow something. So we'll bring it back down. We yank this out. So now this is not gonna be able to live there. That's all there is to it, because it's in the way of the dump. So this will just go in the toolbox on the truck, and then when it's time to tow, you just put it in and you're on your way. But not going to be able to live there. The bumper's getting too short. You know what I mean? Like, something's got to give. You got to have balance. So we want to be able to fit our lights on there, our oval lights, and I'll go over that in a minute. So we need a certain amount of space, and we also need space for the license plate and license plate lights and the license plate bracket. So we need space. So that's just one of the sacrifices we're going to have to make. So we'll bring it up now and make sure everything's okay before we finalize. We got our clearance, everything's clear. So that's where she's gonna be. You may get away with putting that piece in there. I don't know, maybe we'll try it later, but that's not a deal breaker. You'll see them like this all day long on the freeway, and you probably, if you see one like this, you know right away it's going to be a dump bed. So we'll leave it like that. I mean, our truck's only so high, so this is what we got to work with, so no big deal. I'm happy with that. I don't even run with mine on my Tundra, because I'll bust my shin open if I leave it in there. There we go. So we'll finish locking that thing in, and then we can start the bumper fab. Now we know where the bumper's going to live. Like that, all that was just to figure out where the bumper's going to live, and also make sure that the truck still has towing capabilities. And that's all this was for. So we had to rough all this stuff in and build all this stuff just to make sure that when we're dumping, the bumper's not going to break off. So we've been successful. So now we can carry on.